What's up, basketball fans? Welcome to the Route Report. It's time to talk about the Toronto Raptors yet once again because every single day it seems like we're getting new and new trade rumors. And we've got one that surprised a lot of people, including myself today, which I will be discussing. So if you're ready to watch, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And with that being said, let's get into today's video. Now, as you guys know, I do like to give out shout outs on my channel, and the shout out for today's video goes out to Scuff Tough. So, Scuff Tough, thank you so much for supporting this channel through your likes and comments. It is very much appreciated. Now, the recent NBA All-Star that has asked out of his current team, the Sacramento Kings, is De'Aaron Fox. Now, we've heard a lot of rumors and a lot of different teams being linked to him, including the San Antonio Spurs and the Miami Heat. One team, however, I did not expect to be linked to De'Aaron Fox was the Toronto Raptors. And this was NBA Central reporting today that the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Toronto Raptors are among the teams showing some level of interest in De'Aaron Fox, according to Brett Siegel. Sources said other teams to inquire about Fox's availability in Sacramento include the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Toronto Raptors. A path to possibly landing Fox would be extremely difficult for the Timberwolves, and it's unlikely since they'd have to move Julius Randle and Jaden McDaniels to get out of the second apron. McDaniels does have a lot of fans in the Kings front office, sources said. Now, obviously, from a Minnesota Timberwolves point of view, that would be an excellent pairing. You know, having De'Aaron Fox there with, of course, young Anthony Edwards. And look, you still got Rudy Gobert. And then you can, if you're moving off of Julius Randle eventually, you can slide Naz Reid, who could be their stretch power forward. And you can kind of get to what you were doing last year with Cap being there, right? But in terms of the Toronto Raptors, this is where I find it interesting because the Toronto Raptors just last offseason, they signed Emmanuel quickly to a very large contract, making $35 million per season. Now that we're hearing this, there are a lot of question marks as to do the Raptors actually believe in Emmanuel quickly? He's had a rough season. I'm one of the few Raptors fans that still truly believe he'll be good, and also that contract will age like fine wine. Whenever fans, I should say, look at players' contracts like this, they only take into consideration the immediate impact. They don't look at it long term. You're going to have players making 60, $70 million in the next coming couple seasons, and $35 million isn't going to be bad. But what would the Raptors have to give up to get someone like De'Aaron Fox before we talk about fit and whether or not the Raptors should actually want to trade for De'Aaron Fox? Well, let's take a look at his contract first because you have to understand salary implications in today's NBA with all the new CBA rules. So currently, as you see there, De'Aaron Fox is making $34.8 million. To get to that, you could include Bruce Brown, you could include Chris Boucher. That would get you the exact. You could also include maybe RJ Barrett, but for the Kings' point of view, this doesn't make a ton of sense. They wouldn't want RJ Barrett. They have DeMar DeRozan there, and I'm not saying that'd be the reason why they would say no. They also have Malik Monk there as well. So just in terms of positional need, what they probably want ideally back is point guard, which could be Emmanuel quickly, again, $35 million. The Sacramento Kings would actually have to throw in one more player. I don't know if that little bit of money works there because, you know, with all the tax aprons, with all the new rules of how strict it is to make trades, that might be the only issue. But of course, from the Raptors' point of view, they'd also have to include picks as well. The Indiana Pacers, that one pick that everyone can talk about. But in terms of his expiring contract, he is an expiring contract next season, making $37 million. And then you're probably going to have to pay him an upward of $45 million as well. Which, again, if I'm the Toronto Raptors, that's a lot to give up. And I know people do not like Emmanuel Quickly's contract at the time, being he's been injured. But we know what Emmanuel Quickly can do. Now, in terms of the Sacramento Kings, that would be a great get for them because Emmanuel Quickly, he's young. You don't really have to completely rebuild. You can still keep Domantas Sabonis. And I'm not saying that, you know, Emmanuel Quickly is on the same level of De'Aaron Fox, but you still have a very capable point guard that can give you 18, 20 points a game, hit a lot of threes, which is something the Sacramento Kings need. Now, in terms of the Toronto Raptors, let's quickly talk about De'Aaron Fox as well before we talk about, you know, whether I believe the Raptors should trade for him or not. His stats here. We have to talk about the stats. This is very important because he'd be instantly the number one option on the Toronto Raptors. He's averaged 25 plus points for 3 straight seasons, and this season he's averaging 25 points, 5 rebounds, 6.2 assists, and a steal and a half a game, which is amazing. But the concern here, this is where the concern begins. If you know, when we talk about fit with the Toronto Raptors, is that 3 point percentage. He's shooting 32% from the 3 point line, and even in previous seasons, he hasn't really been an excellent 3 point shooter. Now you're going to have a lineup again, assuming we trade Emmanuel quickly. You're going to have a lineup of De'Aaron Fox, RJ Barrett, Grady Dick, Scottie Barnes, and then Jakob Poeltl. So out of those five, there, We've only really got one person that can shoot the 3-point ball really well. That's Grady Dick. And then you're gonna have the other four guys that that can, some of them can. Scottie and RJ can hit threes, but they're not excellent 3-point shooters. So then all of a sudden you have that spacing issue again. Your center doesn't shoot threes, your point guard isn't a great 3-point shooter. Obviously, Scottie Barnes is limited as well, but he's also playing the power forward position. So this is where things also get very complicated as well. So again, in terms of De'Aaron Fox, great player. Does it make sense for the Toronto Raptors? In my personal opinion, absolutely not. Does De'Aaron Fox even want to be here? Most importantly, I absolutely don't think so. So again, I understand where the Raptors are showing interest and they have checked in. I think they're just doing their due diligence. Anytime a star player, all-star player is on the market, Masai Ujiri is always checking in to see the availability and considering the Raptors' position of having so many expiring contracts of Bruce Brown, Chris Boucher. I'm not saying those two alone are going to get you De'Aaron Fox. He's just doing his due diligence. And just in case, you know what, if no one else wants Chris Boucher, you can always just kind of go in a different direction, which leads us to our next trade rumor here as well. The Raptors update on Instagram was reporting Toronto is being described as the most serious destination from Brandon Ingram, according to Jake Fisher. He said that Masai Ujiri really likes Brandon Ingram and has interest in pairing him next to Scottie Barnes. Now, this is very fascinating because we heard these rumors yesterday. There's a lot of talk about, well, Brandon Ingram, is he going to really fit here? How's that pairing with Scottie Barnes going to work? Again, I said it last video. I said a few videos ago, and I'll say it yet once again. The reason we're hearing these rumors is for one simple reason only. Maybe the Raptors management do not believe in RJ Barrett as much as the Raptors fans do. That's all I'll say. RJ Barrett does have a few more seasons under contract. They will have to extend him, but maybe they look to move off of him sooner rather than later. And it's a case of selling high. RJ Barrett's having a good season as well. Maybe they want to, from the Pelicans' point of view, they want to pair him up with Zion Williamson. And for the Toronto Raptors' point of view, you're thinking, hey, we've got Brandon Ingram. You can buy him on the cheap. He's going to average 20 points a game. He's a good ISO scorer, and you want to bring him next to Scottie Barnes. I still have questions about that fit and the amount of money you'll be committing to him. You'll probably be paying him $35 million at least, at the very least. I don't think he's going to. A lot of people are suggesting you can sign him to $30 million. I do not see that happening. It just simply isn't going to happen, guys. Regardless of how bad the market may be, a player like Brandon Ingram isn't going to sign for $30 million. It's just very unlikely to happen. If he does, that'd be very, very surprising to me. But given the Raptors situation, I don't know. Again, this would also be one of the cases, as I suggested, if the Raptors, as often as we talked about in the past, where they're not getting what they want for expiring role players like Bruce Brown and Chris Boucher, so instead of getting, let's say, late second round picks for each of them and salary filler, they're probably thinking, hey, if we're going to take on bad money for only second round picks, why not just go all out and send maybe Portland's second round draft pick and maybe a few second round draft picks to Pelicans and instead get Brandon Ingram instead of taking on bad salary and bad role players for 10, $15 million each for each, Chris Boucher and Bruce Brown. Why not just do the trade and get someone like Brandon Ingram buy on the low? So I think that's where the logic occurs for someone like Masai Ujiri, but also to tie into our next rumor as well. This is very fascinating because Jake Fisher was reporting Jimmy Butler and Brandon Ingram's trade scenarios overlap quite a bit. You've got Toronto interested in Brandon Ingram and the Raptors as a possible multi-team trade facilitator for Butler. These two guys are going to be connected in various discussions between now and the next week's deadline. It also did go on to say that the Pelicans are also showing interest in Jimmy Butler as well. So perhaps this is where the interest from the Toronto Raptors comes into from Brandon Ingram. Maybe there's a three-team trade going on. Jimmy Butler obviously probably isn't going to want to go to the Pelicans, but weirder things have happened in the NBA. So let me know your thoughts on all of these rumors. Do you like De'Aaron Fox to the Raptors? What about Brandon Ingram to the Toronto Raptors? What do you think of these rumors? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, I have a trivia question for you today. And the trivia question is, where do the Raptors rank in the NBA in assists per game? Is it A13? Is it B fourth? Is it C ninth? Or is it D seventh? So whoever answers this trivia question correctly first in the comment section gets a shout out in my next video. Also, guys, I'm going to try to be a little bit more active and a little bit more interactive with the community we've built here. I'm going to post my Instagram link. My previous Instagram account for the Warriors Report did get hacked several years ago, and I didn't really follow up. I do have another one. I'll link it in the comments below if you want to follow me on there. We can talk about trades. I'm also going to post my Twitter account as well. Definitely follow me on there if you haven't already. That will be it for today's video. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have yourselves a great day.